So I'm taking up the syllabus again. So today's syllabus, we'll cover two things. What are the treatment options available in domestic and commercial use? Special installations in multi-story building. Here in the distribution pipes, today's class, we won't look into the cold and the hot water supply of single and multi-story unit. Whereas we'll first look into understand how the distribution happens on a community wise or a town wise. And then we go on to the next level of looking into an individual unit. So today's class would be of we'll get to know about how the distribution happens in a community or a town. Then we'll just have a glance into what are the different types of pipes used for the system, used in the system. Now for water treatment. So in the earlier classes, even the BSI, the Bureau of Indian BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards, is specified what should be the ideal characteristics of a water, a potable water. So, and the first class we discussed on what are the various sources of water, as in surface level water sources and subsurface or below ground water sources. And with taking into consideration, so water from any source could be on the surface level or subsurface level will contain algae or microorganisms, uh, dissolved gases, CO2, H2S, minerals, salts. So directly a water can't be used from its sources. Hence, we have to go through a treatment process before using. So there are various water treatment methods, which is aeration, flocculation, sedimentation, filtration, softening, chlorination, and demineralization. Each of it has a separate function for it to carry out. I'll tell you what each of them would do. So normally, just a minute, I'm just getting a call. Yes, sorry. Yep. So I was telling you about the various filtration processes. So each process got a specific function for which it has to carry out. Okay. And with that, before starting, there is something mentioned as when turbidity of water is less than 10 NTU. So what is NTU is? NTU is nothing but nephelometric turbidity unit. So it shows the scale of turbidity example. I'll just show you. So the more the value, the NTU value is, the more turbid the water is. You can see the discoloration also. So this is about NTU. Okay. So here, it's quite simple. All you need to know is understand this flow chart. And if you can look into what are water treatment methods online, the flow chart varies, as in like the distribution pattern varies, but the process is the same, the hierarchy and how it comes in. So if a raw water from just a groundwater is used, all it needs is a chlorination and a water supply that is treated, and the chlorination kills the bacteria and the water is supplied. But still, this water wouldn't be a ideal water for drinking. So normally in residences, we boil the water and then we filter it and use it. But this is for groundwater, wherein the groundwater doesn't have much of um, exposure to dust and other particles. Whereas a surface water, it's got an exposure to dust, sand particles, and clay particles, because where it's flowing out from, it might carry all the debris also. So raw water on the surface water needs a sedimentation. Sedimentation is nothing but leaving the water idle, wherein the solid substance in the water gets settled down. Water settling down is called as a sludge, and it will be later removed. So once it left for sedimentation, it's left in a place, then the water is taken through filtration. Filtration is, if at all, anything which is not gone through the sedimentation, it goes through a filter screen where it gets filtered out. And at the same time, so when the filtration is happening, a chlorination, the chemical process. So here, if you can see, when the water is treated, there are two methods is treated. One is a physical method, and another is a chemical method. Where chlorination happens, and then the treated water is supplied. So this part, see, this content is composed from random sources. So if you take a book, again, they'll put up the water treatment in a different pattern. Wherein for my preparation, I just taken this. What are the locations of treatment plant? What are things would be included? So if you look into books, they would have made it like a flow chart and would have shown you. For example, if I can show you something. Hmm. So this is just an online reference what I'm taking for water treatment process. So there are various methods in which the content is displayed. If you can see the graphic illustration, there are various methods, but the content is all same. Whereas here, what I'll be showing you is just got text. You can refer to any of these methods and use them. It's not there is nothing in specific that you have to just follow this particular pattern. But the process should go through all of this, depending on systems. Like example, this one's got a ozone contactor, flocculation tank, and sedimentation. Whereas if you can see the next one, it's got raw water, powered activated carbon, alum. Alum is used for coagulation. Mhm. This one would be a much more simpler. Water is stored for sedimentation, and then it goes through a sand filtration, and then it's collected and distributed. So there are various methods to be taken up. So you can take whichever is ideal for you, but all you need to remember is this process, what needs to be followed. The same thing is what given as text here. In this, the first part is the intake work, including pumping plant. Why we need this pumping plant is the raw water from the source for treatment is taken. So this is probably you can take this as a pump house where from whatever the source is, the water is taken. Then it goes through a sedimentation. So what happens in a sedimentation tank is to remove suspended impurities such as silt, clay, and sand. Next process goes as sedimentation with coagulation to remove the suspended matter. So what is coagulation is? Coagulation is normally done. Coagulation is getting an external material to make all the suspended particles bind together. So what happens when it binds together is the mass of the floating substance increases, and eventually either it floats as one chunk of mass, at times it sinks down and gets collected at the bottom. So the both the ways we can remove it. Either we can remove it from the top or we can do it through the bottom. So this would be normally done through chemicals. The commonly used one is alum. Next is filtration, the next process. The filtration is to remove the microorganisms and colloidal matter. The colloidal matter is what's combined and formed. After which, the water, after the filtration, because the water taken from the ground or could be from the surface level, it would be carrying its, as in the mineral content in the water would make it either hard or soft. So normally hard water is not preferred because hard water means it's got a lot of salt content into it. Because if you use a lot of water with salt content, it brings in scalings. So when scaling starts to come into pipes, it reduces the diameter of the pipes and the water flow will be affected. And it affects the things which comes in contact. Even for humans, if we are exposed to hard water, our skin gets dehydrated and it loses texture. Similarly, if it's used on cloth, the texture of it gets spoiled. Even if you're using on a metal, you can see all these white patches forming on them if you're using a hard water. So normally water is softened. So water softening is again chemicals being used to remove the uh, metal compounds or salt compounds in them. Miscellaneous is if at all the water's got some gases infused into them, then they'll be removed. Disinfection, that is chlorination, is one common method we know, is to remove the pathogenic bacteria. After all of this process, the water is stored in a reservoir. This water is again this water will be distributed through either a pump system or through a gravitational flow. So that's what is mentioned here. This is another layout of the same process what is mentioned on the top. If you can see from the left where my mouse pointer is, the raw water is collected into separate tanks for sedimentation. Then it passes on, once it gets filled up, then it passes on through a pipelet to another tank, a circular tank, in which it gets infused with chemicals, where a sedimentation happens with coagulation. Then there are, here in this drawing, they are shown two systems. One is a rapid gravity filter, another is a slow sand filter. I'll tell you what is the difference between them. And after which it's commonly collected through a pipe. It's not necessary that both the systems would need to be used. This is just an example. So depending on the situation, so the appropriate systems would be picked up. So normally a water quality would be taken priorly, if at all any place a water or treatment plant is in. So the water quality from the nearby source would be taken, the quality would be examined, and then they'll pick up what are the ideal treatments required for those particular water and then use. So here, with this distribution pipes, a chlorination, as in the disinfection happens, and then it's stored through the underground clear water reservoir, and a pump was then used to distribute. So this again, I don't need to be repeating because we have already seen screening. What is the sedimentation process? You don't need to worry about these formulas. That's not required. Specification of tanks are given. Again, this varies from place to place. It's just an explanation of the same part. Okay. What is a slow sand filter? Just to have an understanding of what is a slow sand filter is. Slow sand filter is a tank where it consists of a first layer of fine sand, of course, zero point 0.2 to 0.3 mm of fine sand to a depth of 75 to 90 centimeters. And then it will be having a coarse sand. The size of this would be a layer of coarse sand. Then a gravel course is taken up, which has got a size of 2 to 45 mm gravels. And both of these would be of a depth of 20 to 30 centimeters. So what happens is water, when flowing through all of these different courses in different granule sizes, the suspended particles gets filtered out, and comparatively all the physical turbidity of the water would be removed and a water would be got. But this is not the final and the best filter water. This is one of the process in the filtration in the treatment plant. Whereas a rapid sand filter is pretty much the same, whereas only thing would be that it would have been given a additional pressure to work on it. So the process here the courses would be much more thicker. The process here would be faster. But what is the difference? What is the pros and cons of rapid sand and slow sand filter is? The slow sand filter, as I said, as the name suggests, the amount of water discharged from it is comparatively lesser. Whereas the rapid sand filter, it's faster, but that doesn't mean that this is superior. The rapid sand filter, the water received in it, because of its pressure, it's not very consistent with this water purification process, unlike a slow sand filter. So it's both of which has got a pros and cons. So this is about water treatment. You can refer online for various notes, because the few of which might be repeated. There is a soft copy of a book also, which I've had to share. I'll share you the book. That's, I think it's Punmia's book. Now we'll go on to the water distribution. So water distribution, as I said, the treatment process happens, and after the treatment process, guys, you're able to see the screen, guys?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
When did it stop?
Now, sir.
No, okay, okay. Okay, fine. Yeah. So distribution of water, fine. So as I told you, after the treatment, the water needs to be distributed, and how this distribution process happens. So there are various layouts. As I told you, this is a communal distribution system in a town or a city, how the water is distributed. What is in the syllabus is the second part would be the distribution to an individual unit. So first get to understand the total distribution, and then probably in the next class we'll have a class on how a individual distribution happens. So the layout of distribution system is a dead end system, gridiron system, circular ring system, or radial system. A dead end system is nothing but, imagine if so the blue box which I'm showing you, consider that as supposed to be the source of water. The water from here is taken through the main pipe, which goes into the sub pipes and distributed. So imagine you have a locality where there's a water needs to be distributed. This is the main road where the main distribution pipe is laid, and on the lanes comes the sub main pipes, and then it has been distributed to each of the house. Those are the branches. So here, this is the dead end system. So what is the advantage and disadvantages? Discharge and pressure at any point in the distribution is calculated easily. The valve required in the system of layout are comparatively less in number. The diameter of pipes used are smaller, and hence the system is cheap and economical. The laying of pipes is used are simple. What are the disadvantages? There is a stagnant water at dead ends of the pipe, causing contamination because there's no circulation happening. During repair of pipes or valves at any point, the entire downstream end are deprived of supply. So what they mention is, if at all the submain has got a problem that needs to be repaired, the whole system in this part won't have any water supply. The water available for firefighting will be limited in quantity because of the distribution. The water would be limited. So you're in a gridiron system. So imagine the blue box as a supply. It goes into the main, and all the submains are connected, and it becomes a loop. And these are all perpendicular joints. The mains, the submains, and it's taken. The advantage in this case, the repairs, a very small portion of distribution area will be affected. Unlike the earlier system where the whole cluster won't be affected, only the small part would be affected. Every point receives supply from two directions with higher pressure. Whereas with the earlier one, the pressure is limited because it's coming from just one flow. But here, being a gridiron, a closed loop, so it takes in pressure from two directions. Additional water from other branches are available for firefighting. There is a free circulation of water, hence it's not liable for pollution due to stagnation. Like earlier system, the dead end system, the water in the ends, what goes collected, it doesn't get discharged because being a dead end, it stays there, and that's what becomes a causes can cause contamination because of the long stay. But here it's not like that. What is the disadvantage? The more the length of pipes and number of valves are needed, hence there is an increased cost of construction. You won't say it construction, increased cost in laying them. Calculation of size of pipes and working out pressure at various points in the distribution system is laborious, complicated, and difficult. Because as the pressure is higher, the pipes, not all pipes can take up a good amount of pressure. So the cost of pipe increases because the material needs to be optimally chosen. And that's what is mentioned here. What is a circular and a ring system? The difference between the gridiron and the circular and ring system is the gridiron's got a main line at the center which distributes the water. Whereas in a circular system, the water is distributed through the periphery. If you can see on the top and at the bottom, the water is distributed through the periphery and then taken inwards into the other network. A radial system is water from the main is distributed and then again it's taken to perpendicular joints from where it's radially distributed to the other houses. So these are the normal methods which are commonly adopted depending on its regions, depending on the density of houses, industries. These are the various methods adopted in the country. Now, what are the systems? As in, like now we saw how the distribution happens, but what are the modes of water getting onto those pipes? So there is a gravity system and a pumping system. The third is a combination of both, a gravity and pumping. A gravity system is nothing but you have a source of water which is at a higher level, and then because these two are on the same level, the water is just pumped out from one place into a reservoir tank, then it's taken downhill. So this way it's a gravity system. Normally in villages, rural system, as we are doing our villages, what you can see is most of the water supply is done on a gravity flow. If you look into cities, you will see it's done through the pumping method. So villages, you'll see a big overhead tank in a village. So that would be the primary point from where the water is distributed. The water is pumped to the overhead tank from where the water, the reason for pumping is to get the gravity to distribute to the village. So here the dependency of power is very minimal because the pumping time to fill up the overhead tank is the only time when you need the power, beyond which the gravity does the work. Whereas in cities, if at all you're going to use a pumping system, there needs to be a constant supply of electricity for the waters to be pumped. So I'll just show you how it is done. So here, this is in a city layout. If you can see, a source of water is at a level, and then pumps are taken. The pump house is here, from which it's supplied to the town through underground pipes. This pipe needs to constantly have pressure, otherwise the water distribution won't happen. So that's pros and cons of it. And why gravity system is not much used in cities is what the limitation in space for huge overhead tanks. So normally in cities, what we do is we do have our own storage tanks in each of our housing units. Could be industrial places. A combined pumping and gravity system. So this could be taken as an example for in a hill station where the water source is in a lower place. A pumping house is required to pump the water into a higher level than the habitable space, and then the gravity is going to supply the water onto the other side. In this, the pumping valves would be closed so that the water is not flown back. So this is how it's going to be taken up. So I think for today, we'll do this. Guys, have any queries, any doubts in today's class on water filtration and distribution systems? Another one thing I just want to show you before finishing up. So you can just have a reading of the same. What are the different types of pipes? A cast iron pipe was used, steel pipes, pre-stressed concrete, reinforced concrete, AC is aluminum cast pipes, galvanized iron pipes, and PVC. PVC is the older form. The much upgraded version is the UPVC, which is unplasticked PVC. You guys make a note and have your own readings. There's no point. I can read through them, but doesn't serve the purpose. You can have a reading on your own of the various type of pipes and what are the pros and cons for each of them. Normally, the variation, I'll just quickly give you a layer variation, what would be the difference in each of them. What is the material strength of these pipes to handle pressure? So that varies from each of the type. Next, what is the cost incurred in manufacturing these pipes? Depending on the material, the cost varies. So primarily these two things, and last is what are the chances of corrosion and damage in the various materials. So these would be the primarily difference. So I want you guys to just have a note. This need not be, these are the only sources available. As I told you, this is taken from one set of notes. Probably there are, the UPVC is not mentioned in that, mentioned in this part. So there are various options. If you can have your own reading, or if you can just, wherever is your housing unit, if you can just look around, you'll be able to understand what are the different materials of pipes laid in your own housing units. And the later part would be there's a water distribution. I'm not getting into the sizes because once you go on to water sewage distribution, then you would be able to understand what are the various thicknesses of pipes used for each of these functions. So this would be all for today's class. I want you guys to have a reading, look out for water treatment methods and just have an understanding of what is a primary system, water treatment system is. So like I think last class, someone's asked me a question on what type of questions you might expect for the exams. So water treatment is one highly likely question to come. Water distribution is also one highly likely question to turn up. So please have your readings and compile information. There is not only one source of information saying that these are the only correct answers. You can look out through various, but make sure you do a 2 or 3 readings of 2 different sources and then come to a conclusion what is the final. Next, about pipes. I've just given you an introduction of the pipes and I told you what are the various qualities or characteristics in which it varies from. Appropriate to the characteristics and the qualities, the usage also will be defined. So look into both of which. Is there any question, guys? Is everyone clear from today's class?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay, fine. So prepare your contents. There are, as I told you, there's quite a lot of information you can gather. Prepare your contents. There will be another attendance which will be floated at 11 o'clock. That is in consideration for the third hour. I'm repeating again, today's attendance will be taken for, considered for BMC class. And the attendance which would be taken on Monday when the BMC class is happening would be considered for your building services class. So this swap is only for this particular week and it's not for all the weeks. Fine. And hope